Welcome back to Soundwell Guitar. It's been a while since I've made or posted any videos. Sorry about my hiatus. I had a couple things that were kind of interfering with it. One of the main things is I am in a metal band named Beastface, and we're currently working on the third installment of the trilogy we're writing. It's our third album called 3, and we're releasing it as 3 EPs. We did the first two, released the last one last summer, but I've been working really hard on the third one, and it tends to take up a lot of my creative energy and time. I had one other little bugaboo too with YouTube that maybe I'll share later in this video. But what's this video about? You notice I'm not holding a guitar. I don't think I'm going to be playing any guitar in this video. I am going to be talking about my battle jacket that I have started building myself. No, I did not buy it this way. I'm making it myself. Now, what inspired this, and why is it a man of my age that's been into metal since the 80s just now starting one? I don't know. I know I had one before when I was a teenager. It was a denim jacket, and on the back I patched the SOD logo. That actually brings me to the little bugaboo I had with YouTube. Anybody who's a true metalhead knows the album SOD, and that really famous one that's got March of the SOD at the beginning. What the name of that album is, and that's kind of controversial. On one of my last videos I made, I did mention that album, and it was a really good video. A lot of people liked it, but YouTube was pushing it down because I believe it was because of the name of that album. So I'm not going to say the name of that album, not in this video. That was what I had patched on the back of my jacket. Back then, though, I didn't know how to sew, so I just mounted it with safety pins. Anyway, what happened to that jacket? I don't know. It's gone. But anyway, and ever since, I mean, we're talking decades later, I've gone to plenty metal shows, and I'm never really sporting one of these, even though I'm a seasoned veteran of metal. Well, what inspired me to finally start one is I recently attended the concert called Thrash of the Titans. Your headliner was Testament. Their warm-up was Overkill, and the first band on was Destruction. I had to go to that show. All three of those bands are killer. They played an amazing show. It was one of the best shows I've been to in a long time. I couldn't even believe Alex Skolnick was playing guitar for Testament. I saw Testament back in the 80s. He was one of my guitar heroes. When I found out he was still playing with them or playing with them again, that was super exciting. So it was a great show, but I was definitely surrounded by a lot of old school metalheads like my age or maybe even older, and then a whole young generation of metalheads that emulated that culture. And a big part of that culture was sporting one of these battle vests or battle jackets, as they call them. My wife looked at me because there were so many of them around and said, "Why do you not have one of these?" It's a good question. I used to. But anyway, I said to her, well, you know, when I turn into an old geezer with a big gray beard or whatever, that's when I'll make one. And as I heard the words coming out of my mouth, I realized what a shame that would be to start it like when I'm an older man. I'm getting kind of up there in years already as it is, but like waiting until I'm like this old geezer and then I make one. No, they're way cooler when you've actually been sporting them for like decades, and you're bringing them to shows and, you know, taking it on tour with you, and then of course adding patches as you go. As I'm sure I'll play many more shows with my band, or go and find new bands that I like and buy their patches and just keep building on it. So anyway, what did I do? I decided, yeah, I'm gonna do it now. So it was about 3 weeks ago. It was maybe a week after that show. Just decided to order one of these denim vests. Decided to go with black. Everybody knows me, knows I always wear black. And started ordering patches. Now the patches that I wanted to order, that was an obvious choice. Bands that I grew up with, bands I know that I've always loved and always will, so no brainer. Those would be the bands that I would patch on this thing to start with. But I also had to learn how to sew. So along with this jacket, I ordered a sewing kit, you know, just needle and thread and a couple other little tools. I had no idea what I was doing. I had to go online and learn how to sew, which I owe that to this person. I should mention who this was. It was a video made about 8 years ago by this really cool girl named So Anastasia. So Anastasia is the name of the page. And she did this video how to sew a patch onto anything. Ooh, I need to get that pedamp around here. Anyway, how to sew a patch onto anything. The video was extremely helpful. It was only 7 minutes, and I learned how to sew. And I sucked at it at first, and that's kind of one of the things I wanted to mention in this video. But first, why don't I just talk about where I'm at with this thing? All right, maybe I'll start with the first patch I put on it. Okay, this one was an easy choice, and we're talking about the big one on the back. What did I go with? Scream Bloody Gore by Death. All right. Okay, and then I've got on here Metallica. I just did the Anthrax one last night. I've got Venom on here. Black Sabbath, of course. Creator. Judas Priest. Iron Maiden. Ozzy Osbourne. Bathory. Pantera. And Deftones. Now that's just the start. I've got some more upstairs. I've got a Gojira one upstairs, a Megadeth one, and a Lamb of God one. Anyway, I keep brainstorming and figure out what other bands need to be on this jacket. And of course, soon, I think Beastface needs to create her own patch, and I'm saving the very bottom of this jacket for that one. So I learned how to sew. And I was pretty terrible at it at first, but that was kind of a really cool takeaway. And I thought to myself after I was a few patches into this, oh man, it would have been cool to put that on my YouTube channel, but I've already started it, and that's kind of lackluster, I guess. I'm already this far, like, who cares? Well, I don't know. I thought you guys might still think it's cool, but I realized I actually had a point I wanted to make about this, something that, you know, we're always learning new things about ourselves, and this is a really fun takeaway. Like I said, I'd never sewn anything in my life. My first jacket that I was putting patches on back in the 80s, I was using safety pins. Did not know how to sew. And so then I learned, I watched this video, and the tutorial was great, but it didn't make me good at it right away. But I persevered, and the very first patch I put on was the Death one. It was a big one. I had to go all the way around, and I was kind of intimidated. Like, how many stitches is that going to be? I just started doing it. And with the direction from the YouTube video, I was having success for the most part right away, but I started to see how if I'm rushing, it's going to be sloppy. And in a way, I kind of didn't care that much. I just wanted to see if I could do it. I just wanted to get the patch on, and I was worried it was going to take too long. And it turns out, like, doing a patch, if you've never done these before, they don't take as long as you think. Like, once you like learn how to do it, you start to get better. And that was the takeaway I wanted to share with you guys. A lot of these patches were actually iron-ons, and you could just iron them on, and I tried it. But to me, I was a little nervous because it seemed like, well, the patch could just fall off. I don't know how sturdy that is, but I thought ironing the patch first and then sewing it on was a good way to go. And then I did learn with the Deftones one that I did, this one seemed like it stuck on there ironing, and no, after a couple days it started to come off. So I wound up stitching that one on. But anyway, when I finished the Death one, the very first one, I felt really accomplished. It was on there. I could tell it was, it was not going to fall off. The thread's not going to come undone. And then I just continued. I ordered more patches, and then by the end of the week, I'd probably done maybe like 3 more in addition to the big one. And then I finally, when I got to Metallica, I was really proud of this one because I just had the technique down, and this one turned out perfect. And after that, all of them are pretty much like, Iron Maiden was next, getting right into the corners, and you can't even see the thread. Like, I started to become kind of a pro at it. But it was after doing so many patches. And now it's like I had a really good eye for what's a good, sewing job on a patch and what's not. And sure enough, after, I was a couple weeks into this, I take my jacket off, and I'm looking at the Death patch, and there was such a noticeable difference in how far I had come with the sewing the first patch. I mean, I'm looking at it, and it was such shoddy work. Like, that patch is on there, but I'll probably redo it one day. Because it's just like I'm doing these long stitches, and then some that are kind of crooked, and then you can see them. They're not like on the seam. Just little rookie mistakes like that. And I thought that is definitely worth making a YouTube video about, to talk about the jacket and how fun it's been. just to get absorbed in this whole culture with this thing. I'm getting compliments on it too. Everywhere I go, people are like, "Oh man, sweet battle jacket." Or I had one guy ask me, "Where did you buy that?" I'm like, I'm making it. Like, you make these. I mean, you could probably buy one pre-made, but that, I don't know, that wouldn't be as fun. So anyway, thought I'd just share that with you guys. That, yeah, in time I got better at it, and it's only been a couple of weeks. And I thought, well, isn't that true with everything? And of course, with guitar, I think a lot of you out there are watching my channel because you're a guitarist like myself. And isn't it fun to see progress? And it was the same thing with guitar. It was always a labor of love for me. I would just pick it up because I wanted to hear how it sounded. I wanted to get better. But the getting better part was a process I enjoyed. It was never a drudgery or compulsory. I was just playing for the sake of playing. And then in turn, I just got better. And this is the same thing with this jacket. It's been a labor of love, but I've actually gotten good at sewing, of all the things. You know, at this age of my life, never knew how to sew. Now I know how to sew, and I'm actually getting kind of good at it. So I thought I definitely wanted to share that takeaway with you guys. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next video. I plan on posting more of these in the near future, so keep an eye out. Bye.